The Boox Palma became something of a cult hit when it first launched about a year ago. It wasn't a smartphone, and neither is this latest generation. But can it be a device for those seeking a digital detox from their smartphones? Maybe. I'm Cam Bunton, this is Trusted Reviews, and this weird little thing is the Boox Palma 2. So from the outside you might look at it and think, well, that's just an e-ink smartphone. It's smartphone shaped, it has a SIM tray, it runs Android, and you can install apps on it. But it's missing crucial phone features, like actually having a phone app for making regular phone calls. It's also missing an earpiece, so you can't hold it to your ear if you make voice calls via other platforms. And there's no NFC, so you can't make contactless payments. With that said, you can pair Bluetooth earbuds or headphones, and you can install communication apps like WhatsApp or Telegram, both of which have the option to make voice calls, so it's not completely impossible to use them to speak to people. So if you want to get technical, it's more of a mini tablet with an e-ink display than it is a phone. But it might still represent a little oasis, a calm desert island away from a world of full-colour, attention-hogging, eye-straining smartphones. If smartphones are bustling cities full of high-rises, crowds of people and instant convenience, with endless objects of fascination vying for your attention, the Palma 2 is a quiet rural village with a single shop, a chapel, and maybe a fish and chip shop that still sells soda you haven't seen since the 1980s. A place where you have to be a bit more purposeful to find something to fill your attention. That's what the Boox Palma represents. It's your retreat away from the chaotic, tension-inducing world of constant pinging and doom scrolling. And for those familiar with the first generation model, very little of note has actually changed from the Boox Palma to the Boox Palma 2. Even from a purely aesthetic or design standpoint, the two are practically the same. The back has this unusual textured finish which oddly reminds me of Artex, the rough, pale, textured interior wall finish you'd probably find inside British homes in the 70s and the 80s. But the plus side of this finish is that it's really grippy, and combined with the rigid plastic framing around the outside means it's a device that never feels like you need to be precious over it. You don't really need a case, although you can get folio cases that cover the display and then auto-wake the device when you open it. And because it's basically the size of a phone, it's much easier to fit in your pocket or your clutch, or carry in your hand, than a Kindle is, for instance. It's compact and portable. Otherwise, it's pretty basic. There's a Type-C port on the bottom, a customizable shortcut button on the left side, which you can set to do a number of preset tasks like refreshing the screen or taking a screenshot, or you can set it to launch any app. You can set 3 functions, one for a single press, one for a double, and another for a long press. And as always with any programmable shortcut key, I set it to do Shazam, so I can recognize music with the press of a button. Then there's a wake sleep button with a built-in fingerprint reader on the right just above the volume rocker. This is one of the new features. It's pretty slow and unreliable from my experience and a bit of a pain in the end. Certainly something to improve on. Again, pretty much identical to the first generation except for the addition of the fingerprint sensor in the side button, which, with it enabled, you can unlock your device and authenticate anything else that requires an extra level of security. The phrase "less is more" is used often to champion a sense of restricting quantity, mass or volume in favour of a quality experience. And it sort of applies here. And this restriction is all down to the fact that it has an e-ink display. There's only so much you can do on it really. No matter how good e-ink has become, it still isn't anywhere near as bright or vibrant or colourful or crucially as fast to refresh as an LCD or OLED display. And that means it's absolutely terrible for watching videos or playing games on. But that's actually the joy of this device. You'll never get stuck in those endless recommendation feeds on TikTok or spend hours lost in YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. You could try, but you'd soon get fed up and give up on it. It almost makes the decision to base the software on Android counterintuitive, but again, this is also a good thing. Where we've seen devices like the Kindle or Remarkable's paper tablets locked into a custom operating system, where you can't really install anything extra, with this device you can have any app you want installed. Well, almost any. E-ink is ideal for anything text-based, so you can install any document editing apps for a starter, it's great for that. Plus, you can install Kindle or any other popular ebook reading or library service, where an actual Kindle will restrict you to just the Kindle store, unless you're happy to go through the hassle of downloading and sending documents individually to your Kindle library. And it doesn't have to be Kindle's app either. You can have Barnes & Noble's app on there, or apps like Libby and BorrowBox. So you can access ebooks for free from your local library, helping support those and not needing to hand over any cash to big tech companies like Amazon. Now, if you like reading on your commute to work, you can just take this with you and read, listening to podcasts or music at the same time, without being distracted by any social video feeds in the process. The limitations of e-ink doing wonders at keeping you from being distracted because it's basically impossible. Keep your actual phone locked away in another pocket and ignore social media. It's bliss. Now, in my time using it, it was primarily a device for reading books on the Kindle app, but at the same time I had WhatsApp and Telegram installed, so I could stay in touch with close friends and family using popular messaging apps if I wanted to. I even had ChatGPT installed to do some basic research, and for the most part it works pretty well. But like the last generation, it's not the fastest experience. The lag between touching, tapping and swiping on the display and getting a response from the interface is still quite noticeable, but I could still type pretty quickly and accurately on the Google keyboard, so it doesn't hinder too much. It's just that I don't see any major speed or response improvements over the last model. It's still an e-ink device after all. Onyx, the company that makes the Boox, said it has a new octa-core processor, but probably more important is that it runs Android 13, which is an old but not quite as old as Android 11 software by modern tablet and smartphone standards. Android 11 being the version they used on the first generation Palma. It also has a camera, although really this is just there for those rare occasions you might want to scan a document. So if you need a digital copy of a physical document or you want to scan a QR code, it can do it. But it's not much good for any other kind of photography. And because it's quite limited, that does mean that from a hardware perspective it's hard to upgrade on this experience. So if all you want is something small and portable to read on, this will do that, for years. Now, I've mentioned the restrictions of e-ink already, but there are some very real benefits to using this technology as a display tech on this device. It's great for two things: readability and battery life. If you're in a bright environment, it uses the ambient light around you to make the display visible, so you can read whatever is on the display clearly without having to use any back or front lighting at all. In fact, the brighter the environment, the clearer it is. It's the opposite to LCD or OLED in that regard, which struggle to remain as clearly visible when you're in really bright environments. That makes it perfect for reading. As I've already mentioned, it's not great for more visual stuff, particularly animations which are janky and stuttery, and at the same time, because it's a grayscale display, even looking at images and photos is limited because of the difficulty in showing the contrast between the different shades of grey that all the colours become. Anything high contrast though is wonderful, and it's why text on a blank page works so well, making the Palma 2 absolutely perfect for reading on the go. It does have lighting for those moments where you might need it too, so if you're reading at bed you can light up the screen, and you can adjust the brightness and the warmth similar to how Amazon's new Kindles will allow you to brighten and warm the light. And like I mentioned, battery life is a huge plus here because it only really uses power when you turn pages or force it to refresh the display. It doesn't drain the battery quickly at all. Now, it's not quite as long lasting as bigger devices like Kindles, but it'll still get me through about 5 days on a full charge. In the end, the Boox Palma 2 is a bit of a hard product to judge because it doesn't really have much in the way of competition, and those similar devices that do exist have largely the same limitations. As a bit of an out there alternative, there's the TCL Next Paper Phone, which uses an LCD panel to mimic e-ink displays at a flick of a switch. But because it is essentially just a normal smartphone with a color display, it's not going to keep you away from your addictive TikTok feeds. So while it could be better, specifically around feeling faster and more responsive and having a more modern version of Android so that it stays secure and up to date for longer, it is still probably the best example of what it's trying to achieve. I'd love for it to have phone capability to pop my SIM in and use it as a dumb phone of sorts and ditch my smartphone for a bit and get some proper time away from notifications and distractions. But that would require building in those essential phone hardware parts and probably ramping up the price in the process. And that would make this affordable, pocketable product a lot less accessible. Let me know what you think of the Boox Palma 2 in the comments down below. If you have any questions that I didn't cover in this review, please feel free to get in touch using the comments or get me on Blue Sky. I'll leave my link in the description box down below. If you did like this video, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe and tap that notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.